I brought a gift for you, sir. Preston Whitmore stopped in the middle of the frozen sidewalk on Park Avenue and looked down. A boy of about 8 years old was holding out a box wrapped in old newspaper, tied with frayed twine. The boy's coat was too thin for the December cold. His shoes had holes in them, and the fingers holding the box were purple. Preston let out a cruel laugh that echoed down the street. "Are you kidding me, kid?" The boy didn't back down. His green eyes, too large for that thin face, stared at the millionaire with unwavering determination. "It's not a joke, sir. It's a Christmas present to give to you." "A present?" Preston scoffed, adjusting his cashmere scarf. "Kid, I have apartments in 3 countries, a car collection worth more than this entire block. What could you possibly have in that pathetic box that would interest me?" "Something you need, sir. My mom said you'd understand when you saw it. If this story is already touching your heart, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Leave that like, that helps so much, and share it with someone who needs an emotional story today. And tell us in the comments what city or country you're watching from. I love reading every single one of your comments. Now let's continue. Preston Whitmore was 54 years old with a net worth estimated at $800 million. Founder of Whitmore Investment Group, one of the most respected firms on Wall Street. His name was synonymous with power, success, and calculated coldness. The newspapers called him the Stone Man for his ability to close million-dollar deals without showing the slightest emotion. But on that Christmas Eve, standing before that ragged little boy shivering in the cold, something in Preston wavered. "How do you know my name, kid?" "My mom knew, sir." "And who is your mom?" The boy's eyes filled with tears that he fought to hold back. "Sir, she died a month ago." Preston swallowed hard. The snow was starting to fall harder, and the boy was shaking so much that the box trembled in his hands. "I'm sorry about that, but it doesn't explain what you're doing here. My mom worked at St. Mary's Hospital, sir. She was a nurse. Before she died, she made me promise I would find you and deliver this box. She said it was very important. She said I couldn't fail. And you came here all by yourself." "Yes, sir. I've been coming to the street every day for 2 weeks, waiting for you to show up." 2 weeks in the middle of this blizzard?" "Yes, sir." "Where have you been sleeping?" The boy looked away. "Places, sir." "What places?" "Places where nobody tells me to leave." Preston felt something tighten in his chest. How long had it been since he'd felt that? How long had it been since he'd become immune to other people's suffering? "What's your name, kid?" "Micah, sir." "Micah Sullivan." "And your mom, what was her name?" "Suzanne. Suzanne Sullivan." Preston frowned. The name wasn't familiar to him. "I don't know any Suzanne Sullivan." "I know, sir. My mom said you didn't know her, but she said I still needed to come." "That doesn't make any sense, kid." "I know it doesn't, sir. But my mom never lied to me. Never." "If she said it was important, then it's important." Preston looked at the box again. The newspaper was soaked, almost falling apart. The twine barely held the package together. "What's inside?" "I don't know, sir. My mom wouldn't let me open it. She said it was only for you to see." "And what if I don't want to?" Micah's eyes filled with desperation. "Please, sir." "You have to accept it," I promised her. It was the last thing I promised. She held my hand in the hospital and said, "Micah, my love, promise mommy you'll deliver this box to Mr. Whit. Promise you won't give up until you do." And I promised. It was the last time she spoke to me. Preston stood frozen di laschimi. That boy had kept his mother's last words like a sacred treasure, and he walked through the snow for 2 weeks to keep that promise. Yes, because a promise is a promise. My mom used to say that our word is all we really have. Preston felt his eyes sting. How many years had it been since he'd cried? How many years had it been since he delocked all his emotions in a safe and thrown away the key? Do you have family, Micah? Someone to take care of you? No, sir. It was just me and my mom. She never talked about my dad. She said he left before I was born, and after she died, nobody showed up. The government people showed up. They wanted to take me to a shelter, but I ran away. Why? Because I had promised my mom. She said it was more important than anything. More important even than myself. Preston looked at that boy. 8 years old, an orphan, sleeping on the streets, starving in the cold. And yet there he was, keeping a promise. Call me with me, Preston said, surprising himself. Where to, sir? Somewhere warm. You're freezing. And the box, sir, will you accept it? Preston took the box from Micah's trembling hands. I will, but I'm going to open it somewhere warm, and you'll be with me when I open it. Why, sir? Because something tells me your mom wanted it that way. Micah finally allowed a small smile to cross his tired face. Thank you, sir. You won't regret it. Preston looked at the boy and felt something awaken inside him. Something that had died 10 years ago, along with his daughter Abigail, Hope. Preston Whitmore S. Black Rolls-Royce Phantom cut through the snowy streets of Manhattan until it parked in front of the most exclusive building on the Upper East Side. The doorman, a white-haired man named Bernard, ran to open the door. Good evening, Mr. Whitmore. Merry Christ. Bernard stopped mid-sentence when he saw the ragged boy next to the millionaire. Bernard, this is Micah. He's coming up with me. Yes, sir. Of course, sir. Micah looked at everything with wide eyes. The Italian marble lobby, the Austrian crystal chandeliers, the arrangements of fresh flowers that perfumed the air. And then he saw his reflection in a gilded mirror. A dirty, skinny boy with torn clothes and messy hair. Sir, I can't go in there. Why not? Lukaci. Me. Lukaci. Me look at this place. I'll get everything dirty. Preston bent down to the boy's level. Micah, listen carefully. Dirt can be cleaned, clothes can be changed. But courage like yours isn't found just anywhere. You crossed this city for 2 weeks to keep a promise. That's worth more than all the marble in this building. They took the private elevator up to the penthouse. When the doors opened, Micah lost his breath. The apartment took up the entire top floor, with enormous windows showing all of Manhattan sparkling under the snow. A giant Christmas tree dominated the living room, decorated with gold and silver ornaments. This is a house, Micah whispered. It's where I live. You live here, all by yourself? Preston hesitated. Yes, alone. That's a lot of space for just one person. Don't you get sad? The question cut through Preston like a knife. Sometimes, Micah. Sometimes it gets very sad. A woman in her 50s appeared from the kitchen wearing a floral apron. Mr. Whitmore, dinner is, oh my God. She ran to Micah and knelt down in front of him. My little angel, you're freezing. Look at those purple little hands. Come with me right now. Dorothy, this is Micah, Preston explained. He's going to have dinner with us and spend the night here. Spend the night, sir. This boy needs a hot bath, clean clothes, and food in his belly immediately. How long have you been on the street, sweetheart? Micah looked at Preston, not knowing if he could answer. You can tell her, Micah. Since my mom died, ma'am. A month. Dorothy put her hand to her chest, her eyes filling with tears. A month on the street in the middle of this winter, yes, ma'am. Lord, have mercy. Come with me, angel. I'm going to take care of you. While Dorothy took Micah to the bathroom, Preston let himself fall onto the couch, still holding the box wrapped in newspaper. His hands were trembling. Susan Sullivan, a nurse, St. Mary's Hospital. The same hospital where his daughter Abigail had spent the last 6 months of her life. Could it be a coincidence? Preston closed his eyes, and the memories he fought so hard to keep locked away came flooding back. Abigail, his little princess with green eyes and a contagious laugh, diagnosed with leukemia at 8 years old. She fought bravely for 2 years. She died in his arms on a December night, exactly 10 years ago. 10 years, and the pain was still there, intact, waiting for any crack to destroy him again. Sir. Preston opened his eyes. Micah was standing at the living room door, wearing pajamas that were way too big for him. His wet hair was combed back, his clean face revealing freckles on his nose. Are you feeling better, Micah? I am, sir. Mrs. Doherty is very kind. She cried while she was giving me a bath. She said, I'm too skinny. Are you hungry? Very, sir. But I can wait. If you want to open the box first. Preston looked at the package in his hands. No. First you eat. Then we'll open this together. Dorothy appeared with a tray full of food. Hot soup, fresh bread, roast chicken, mashed potatoes, apple pie. Micah looked at that feast with wide eyes. All of this is for me. Yes, it is, sweetheart. Eat slowly, okay? Your stomach isn't used to it. Micah ate in silence, savoring each bite as if it were his last. Preston watched him, remembering how Abigail used to eat slowly, delicately, always leaving a little piece on the plate for the angels, as she used to say. Mr. Whitmore. Yes, Micah. Can I ask you a question? Of course. Do you have kids? The silence that followed was heavy. I had a daughter, Abigail. She died 10 years ago. Micah stopped eating. I'm sorry, sir. Thank you. Was she my age? She was 10 when she went away? Went away where? To heaven. Micah. She went to heaven. Then she's with my mom now. Preston felt tears burning his eyes. Yes, she is. I'm sure of it. Do you think they met up there? I think so. Micah smiled, a sad but genuine smile. That's good. My mom didn't like being alone. And if your daughter is with her, then neither of them is alone now. Preston couldn't hold back. A tear ran down his face, then another, and another. Sir, are you crying? I am, Micah. Why? Because it's been 10 years since anyone talked about my daughter like that. With tenderness, with hope. Micah stood up, walked over to Preston and, without asking permission, hugged him. My mom used to say that tears aren't weakness, sir. They're the soul washing away the pain. Preston hugged that boy back. He hugged him tight, the way he hadn't hugged anyone in a decade. Your mom was very wise, Micah. She was, sir. I miss her so much. I miss my daughter too. Every day they stayed embraced for a long moment. Two strangers united by the pain of loss. A millionaire who had everything and had nothing. An orphan who had nothing and had everything that mattered. A pure heart. Sir? Yes? I think you can open the box now. Preston picked up the box with trembling hands. The newspaper, still damp from the snow, fell apart. Underneath was an old shoebox with edges worn down by time. Are you ready, sir? Micah asked, sitting next to him on the couch. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, Micah, but let's find out together. Preston opened the lid. Inside were 3 things. The first was a photograph. Preston picked it up, and his heart stopped. In the image, a smiling nurse was holding the hand of a bald little girl lying in a hospital bed. The little girl was smiling despite the tubes and machines around her. It was Abigail and the nurse. That's my mom, Micah said, pointing. And who's that girl? Preston couldn't speak. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. It's my daughter. It's Abigail. Your daughter knew my mom. It seems so. Micah, it seems so. The second thing in the box was a notebook with a purple cover worn by time. Preston opened it and immediately recognized Abigail's childish handwriting. What is that, sir? It's her diary. The diary that disappeared after she died. I searched for months. I never found it. My mom had it, apparently. So, Preston leafed through the pages with reverence. Colorful drawings, star stickers, words written with care. And then he reached the last pages. The handwriting was weaker, shakier, but it was still Abigail's. Can I read it, sir? Micah asked. I'll read it to you. Preston took a deep breath and began. December 12th. Dear Diary, today Nurse Susie told me a secret. She said she's going to have a baby. A little boy. She's so happy. I asked what his name would be, and she said she doesn't know yet. I told her to name him Micah, because it's the name of the guardian angel in the Bible. She laughed and said she'd think about it. Preston stopped reading. He looked at Micah with wide eyes. You picked my name. My daughter picked your name, Micah. The boy was in shock. But how? She never even met me. She knew you before you were born. She gave your name to your mother. Tears began to stream down Micah's face. My mom never told me that. Maybe she was waiting for the right moment. Preston continued leafing through the diary until he found another entry. December 20th. Dear Diarrhea, I know I'm going to die soon. I heard the doctors talking, but I'm not afraid. Susie said heaven is beautiful and I'll find Grandma there. I'm only afraid for Daddy. He's going to be so sad. He's going to be alone. I ask God to send someone to take care of him when I'm gone. Someone who will make him smile again. Preston sobbed. Keep going, sir. Please. December 23rd. Dear Diary, tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and I know I won't see Christmas Day. That's okay. I already got my present. Susie let me put my hand on her belly, and I felt the baby kick. Little Micah, I said to Imha, Micah, you don't know me yet, but one day you're going to meet my daddy, and when that day comes, take care of him for me, okay? He's the best dad in the world, but he's going to need someone when I'm gone. I know he heard me. I know he understood. Preston closed the diary. He couldn't read anymore. His chest ached in a way he hadn't felt in 10 years. Mr. Whitmore. Yes, Micah. Your daughter asked God to send me to you. It seems so, and it took 10 years for me to get here. It did, but you made it. Micah was silent for a moment, processing. So it wasn't by chance that my mom sent me here. No, Micah. It wasn't by chance. It was God's doing. It was God's doing. The third thing in the box was an envelope. Preston opened it and found a handwritten letter. "That's my mom's handwriting," Micah said. "May I read it?" "Yes, sir." Preston unfolded the paper and began. "Dear Mr. Whitmore, if you are reading this, it means I have already passed and my son kept the promise he made me. I apologize for taking so long to return your daughter's diary. The truth, Isa didn't have the courage. Abigail gave me this diary on Christmas Eve, hours before she passed away," she said. "Susie, keep this for me. One day you'll know what to do with it. I kept it for 10 years without understanding why. Now I understand, Mr. Whitmore. Your daughter knew she was going to die, and yet her only concern was for you. She prayed for someone to take care of you, and I believe with all my heart that someone is my son. Micah has no one else in the world. I am all he has, and soon I won't be here anymore. Cancer is winning the battle. I am not asking for money. I am not asking for charity. I am asking for something much greater. I am asking you to give my son a chance to have a family, a chance to be loved. Abigail and I used to talk for hours at the hospital. She told me about you, about how you read stories to her every night, about how you sang made-up songs, about how you made her laugh even on the hardest days. That man is still in there, Mr. Whitmore, hidden beneath layers of pain and loneliness. But he's there. Let my son find him. With love and eternal gratitude, Suzanne Sullivan. Preston set down the letter. What did she write? Sir? Micah asked anxiously. She asked me to take care of you. Micah, take care of me. How? Preston looked at that boy, an orphan, alone, but with an enormous heart and a courage he had never seen. The way a father takes care of a son. Micah's eyes went wide. The way a father takes care of a son. Yes, Micah, you want to be my dad. Preston felt the weight of that question. 10 years ago, he had sworn he would never love anyone again, that he would never allow himself to feel that devastating pain of losing someone. And now, here he was, standing before an orphan boy that fate had placed in his path. I don't know if I'd be a good father, Micah. It's been so long since I forgot how to love someone. My mom used to say that loving is like riding a bike, sir. You never really forget. You just get scared of falling. Preston let out a sad laugh. And what if I fall, Micah? What if I let you down? Then you get back up and try again. That's what my mom always told me when I messed something up. Before Preston could respond, the phone rang. It was almost midnight. Who would call at this hour on Christmas Eve? Mr. Whitmore. It was Bernard, the doorman. There are 2 people down here wanting to come up. They say they're from Child Protective Services. They're looking for a boy named Micah Sullivan. Preston's blood ran cold. How do they know he's here? I don't know, sir. But they're insisting. They say they have a court order. Micah heard the conversation and started trembling. They came to get me, sir. They're going to take me to a shelter. Nobody is taking you anywhere, Micah. But they have a court order. My mom explained to me what that means. It means the law is on their side. Preston knelt down and held the boy's shoulders. Listen to me. I am Preston Whitmore. I have the best lawyers in this country working for me. No one is taking you out of here tonight. Understand? Do you promise? I promise. Preston returned to the phone. Bernard, let them come up. But first, Call Malore, Raymond Fisher. Tell him it's an emergency." "Yes, sir." 2 minutes later, the elevator opened. A woman in her early 40s, hair pulled back in a tight bun, and a younger man with an unfriendly face entered the penthouse. "Mr. Whitmore," the woman showed a badge. "I'm Diane Crawford from Child Protective Services. This is my colleague, Peter Hawkins. We're here to collect Micah Sullivan." "Collect?" Preston crossed his arms. "He's not an object, Mrs. Crawford. You know what I mean. This boy ran away from a shelter 2 weeks ago. He's a minor, has no legal guardian, and is in an at-risk situation." "He's not in an at-risk situation. He's in my home, fed, warm, safe. With all due respect, Mr. Whitmore, you have no legal authority over this child. You can't just pick up a homeless minor and take him home. I didn't pick him up. He came to me. That doesn't change anything in the eyes of the law." Micah hid behind Preston, clutching his shirt. "Please, sir, don't let them take me. Please." Preston felt the desperation in the boy's voice, and something inside him exploded. "Mrs. Crawford, this boy spent a month on the streets. A month in the cold, starving. And where were you? Where was Child Protective Services when he needed you?" "We tried to find him, sir. He ran away." "He ran away because he had a promise to keep, a promise he made to his dying mother. And while you were sitting in your heated offices filling out forms, this boy walked across Manhattan for 2 weeks to deliver a box to a stranger." Diane Crawford was silent for a moment. "That doesn't change the facts, Mr. Whitmore. Legally, I can file for temporary custody of him until a hearing is scheduled. Legally, I can hire the best lawyers to ensure this boy never sets foot in a shelter again. And legally, I can make your life a bureaucratic nightmare if you try to take him out of here tonight." Peter Hawkins stepped forward. "Are you threatening us?" "No, I'm informing you. There's a difference." The elevator opened again. A 60-year-old man with gray hair, wearing an impeccable suit even at that hour, entered the room. "Preston, I got Bernard's message." "What's going on?" "Raymond, I'm glad you came. These two want to take Micah." Raymond Fisher was one of the most feared lawyers in New York. He had defended CEOs, politicians, celebrities, and he had been Preston's personal friend for 30 years. "Mrs. Crawford, Mr. Hawkins?" Raymond greeted them coldly. "I assume you have a valid court order." Diane hesitated. "We have a search and seizure order for the minor." "Issued by which judge?" "Judge Patterson." "Robert Patterson? The same Robert Patterson who's been on vacation in the Caribbean since last week?" "Interesting." Diane's face turned red. "The order is valid." "The order is questionable. And tomorrow morning, when I file a petition for temporary custody on behalf of Mr. Whitmore, it will be invalidated. So, you have 2 options. You can leave now and leave this child in peace on Christmas Eve, or you can push this and turn it into a legal battle that will land on the front page of every newspaper in the country. Child Protective Services tears orphan from billionaire's home on Christmas Eve. I imagine that headline would look lovely." Diane and Peter exchanged glances. "We'll be back," Diane said coldly, "with an order that even you won't be able to question." "I'll be waiting," Raymond replied with an icy smile. The two stepped into the elevator and disappeared. Micah let go of Preston's shirt and looked at him with eyes full of tears. "They're going to come back, sir. They always come back." Preston knelt down and hugged the boy. "Let them come back." "I'm not going to abandon you, Micah. Never Do you promise? I promise. And I always keep my promises. Raymond watched the scene with a subtle smile. Preston, are you sure about this? Adopting a child isn't like closing a business deal. I know, Raymond, but for the first time in 10 years, I'm sure about something. That night, Micah couldn't sleep. He lay in the guest room bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the city far below. The fear of being taken to a shelter consumed his every thought. Around 3 in the morning, he got up and walked quietly to the living room. Preston was there, sitting on the dark couch, holding Abigail's diary against his chest. You couldn't sleep either, sir, Micah whispered. Preston looked up. No, Micah, I couldn't. Are you scared they'll come back? No, I'm scared of losing you. Micah approached slowly and sat on the floor near Preston's feet. You barely know me, sir. Why would you be scared of losing me? Preston was silent for a long moment, choosing his words. When my daughter died, Micah, a part of me died with her. I closed off my heart. I built walls so high that no one could get in. For 10 years, I lived like that, working, making money, but empty inside. And now you showed up, out of nowhere, with that old box and that huge heart, and suddenly the walls start to crack. Is cracking good or bad? It's scary, but I think it's good. Micah climbed onto the couch and sat next to Preston. My mom used to say, the heart is like a broken bone. It hurts a lot when it's healing, but it gets stronger after. Preston smiled sadly. Your mom was very wise. You already said that before. Because it's true. They sat in silence for a moment, side by side, watching the Christmas tree lights blinking softly. Mr. Whitmore, you can call me Preston. Micah, Preston. Yes. If you could ask Santa for one thing, what would you ask for? Preston thought for a moment. I would ask to go back in time, to have one more day with my daughter, to tell her how much I loved her. She knew, sir. She wrote it in her diary. She knew you loved her more than anything. Tears returned to Preston's eyes. And you, Micah, what would you ask for? The boy lowered his eyes. I would ask for a family, a real family, with someone who loves me and who will never leave. Never leave. My mom left. My dad left before I was born. Everyone always leaves. Preston felt his heart break. Micah, look at me. The boy raised his green eyes, filled with a pain no child should know. I'm not leaving. Understand, I'm not going to abandon you. Everyone says that at first. I'm not everyone. I'm Preston Whitmore. And when I give my word, I keep it, even if it's hard. Especially if it's hard. Micah was silent, processing. Do you really want to be my dad? I do, Micah, if you'll let me. But what if I'm not good enough? What if I make you regret it? Preston held the boy's face between his hands. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. You walked through the snow for 2 weeks to keep a promise. You went hungry, you froze, you slept on the street, but you didn't give up. That's not being good enough, Micah. That's being extraordinary. Tears began streaming down Micah's face. I'm so scared, Preston. Scared of what? Of waking up and finding out this is a dream. Of waking up and being back on the street, alone, cold. Preston hugged him tight. This isn't a dream, Micah. This is real. I'm real, and I'm here. They stayed embraced for a long time, while the snow fell silently outside the enormous windows. Preston, yes, Can I tell you a secret? Of course. Micah pulled back a little and looked into his eyes. Before my mom died, she told me something. She said God had shown her in a dream that I would find a new dad. A dad who had lost a daughter and who needed me just as much as I needed him. Preston felt a shiver run down his spine. She said that she did. And she said one more thing. She said that when I found this man, I would know, because my heart would recognize him. And did you recognize me? Micah nodded slowly. I recognized you the moment you laughed at my box. It seems strange, right? But that's when I knew. Knew what? That you were the person my mom had seen in her dream. That you were my dad. You just didn't know it yet. Preston felt tears streaming down. Micah, I spent 10 years running from God. 10 years angry at him for taking my daughter. 10 years thinking he had abandoned me. And now I understand that he didn't abandon me. He was preparing me. Preparing my heart for you. Micah smiled. A genuine smile that lit up his whole face. So, we're going to be a real family. We are, Micah. No matter what it takes. And if those people come back, we'll fight together. 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 Outside, the bells of a church began to ring. Midnight had passed hours ago, but that sound seemed like a divine sign. Merry Christmas, Micah, Preston said, hugging the boy again. Merry Christmas, Preston. And there, in that luxurious Manhattan living room, beneath the lights of a giant Christmas tree, a lonely millionaire and a helpless orphan sealed a pact that no court could break. The pact of love. Dorothy appeared at the living room door, her eyes red from crying in secret. Mr. Whitmore, sorry to interrupt, but I think you two need to get some sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a long day. Preston looked at Micah, who was yawning without realizing it. She's right. Come on, I'll take you to your room. Can I sleep here, on the couch? Close to you, Preston smiled. You can. I'll go get a blanket. Christmas Day dawned with a timid sun trying to break through the gray clouds of Manhattan. Preston woke up on the couch with Micah nestled beside him, the plaid blanket covering them both. For a moment, he lay still, just watching the boy sleep. The relaxed face, the calm breathing, the fingers still gripping his shirt. How long had it been since Preston had woken up next to someone? How long since he had felt this human warmth? Good morning, Mr. Whitmore. Dorothy was at the living room door, holding a tray with coffee and toast. Good morning, Dorothy. What chimney is it? Almost night, sir? Did you sleep well? Better than I have in years. Micah stirred and slowly opened his eyes. When he saw Preston, he smiled. I'm still here. You're still here. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream, Micah. The boy stretched and looked around. I've never spent a Christmas like this, with a tree, with lights, with someone by my side. And how did you spend them before? My mom worked a lot. Sometimes she could get time off, sometimes not. When she could, we'd make hot chocolate and watch old movies on the little television in our apartment. That sounds like a good Christmas. It was the best Christmas because it was with her. Preston felt his heart tighten. Today will be different, Micah, but I'll do everything I can to make it special too. Preston's phone rang. It was Raymond. Preston, I need to see you. Now. What happened? I found out something important about Micah's case. Something that changes everything. Can you tell me over the phone? No, it has to be in person. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Preston hung up, worried. "What is it?" Micah asked, noticing the change in his face. "My lawyer is coming. He said he found out something important." "Important good or important bad?" "I don't know yet, but we'll find out together." 20 minutes later, Raymond Fisher entered the penthouse carrying a thick folder. His face was serious, but there was something in his eyes that Preston couldn't decipher. "Preston, Micah." Raymond greeted them. "Can you sit down?" "What I have to tell you is, it's quite a lot." They sat in the living room. Micah nestled next to Preston, nervous. "What did you find out, Raymond?" "I spent the night investigating the case. I called contacts, accessed records, asked some questions." Raymond opened the folder. Micah's mother, Susan Sullivan, died of cancer at St. Mary's Hospital 5 weeks ago. We already know that. What you don't know is that she left a will. Preston's eyes went wide. "A will? Did she have any assets?" "No, but she left very clear instructions about Micah's custody." Micah leaned forward. "My mom left instructions." Raymond pulled a document from the folder Suzanne Sullivan filed with a notary 3 days before she died. A declaration of last wishes. And in that declaration, she names a specific person as Micah's preferred guardian. "Who?" Preston asked. Raymond looked directly into his eyes. "You, Preston." The silence that followed was absolute. "Me. But she didn't even know me." "She knew your daughter. And apparently, that was enough." Raymond read the document aloud. "I, Suzanne Marie Sullivan of sound mind, declare that in the event of my death, I wish for my son, Micah James Sullivan, to be placed under the guardianship of Preston William Whitmore. During the 2 years I worked at St. Mary's Hospital, I had the privilege of caring for his daughter Abigail. During that time, I came to know Mr. Whitmore through Abigail's stories and the few times I saw him at the hospital. I saw a devoted, loving father who read stories to his daughter every night, who sang to her, who never gave up on making her smile, even in the most difficult moments. I know he suffered a devastating loss. I know his heart was broken, but I believe, with all the faith I have, that he is the right person to take care of my Micah. I ask the proper authorities to respect my last wish. I ask Mr. Whitmore to open his heart once more. And I ask God to guide them both on this journey. Preston was crying. Micah was crying. Even Raymond had tears in his eyes. "She planned everything," Preston whispered. "The box, the letter, the diary. She knew I was the right person. She had faith," Micah said. "My mom always had so much faith." Raymond cleared his throat. "There's one more thing, Preston." "What?" "The will was authenticated and legally recorded. That means Diane Crawford and Child Protective Services can't simply ignore it. The mother's wishes carry legal weight, so they can't take Micah. They can contest it, but they'll have to prove you're unsuitable as a guardian. And considering your financial situation, your reputation, your clean record, and now this document, their chances are minimal." Preston hugged Micah tight. "Did you hear that, Micah? Your mom took care of everything, even after she was gone." "She took care of you?" Micah sobbed. "She always took care of me. Always." Raymond stood up. "I'll file the custody petition tomorrow, first thing. With this will, I believe we'll have a favorable decision within a few days." "Thank you, Raymond. Thank you for everything." "Don't thank me yet. We still have a battle ahead. But now we have weapons to fight with." When Raymond left, Preston and Micah stayed embraced in silence for a long moment. Preston: "Yes, my mom chose you. Even before I found you, she had already chosen you. I know, it's incredible. Do you know what I think? What? That your daughter Abigail and my mom planned all of this up in heaven? That they planned to bring us together? Preston smiled through his tears. You know, Micah, I think so too. Dorothy appeared at the door, wiping her eyes with her apron. Christmas breakfast is ready. Come eat before it gets cold. Preston stood up and extended his hand to Micah. Shall we? Micah held his hand tight. Let's go. Together. Together. The days following Christmas were the most intense of Preston Whitmore's life. On the morning of December 26th, Raymond filed the petition for temporary custody. That same afternoon, Diane Crawford responded with a furious contestation, claiming that Preston was not emotionally fit to care for a child. They're attacking your psychological history, Raymond explained over the phone. They say you went through severe depression after your daughter's death, that you isolated yourself from the world, that you could pose an emotional risk to Micah. Preston felt the anger boil inside him. That was 10 years ago, Raymond. I know, but they're going to use everything they can. Micah was sitting on the couch, pretending to watch television, but Preston knew he heard every word. What do we need to do? Psychological evaluation. A specialist will have to certify that you're fit, and we'll need character witnesses. When? Hearing scheduled for January 3rd, 1 week. Preston hung up and looked at Micah. The boy's eyes were full of fear. They're going to take me away, aren't they? Preston sat down next to him. No, I won't let them. But they said, you're not fit. That you're a risk. They don't know me, Micah. They don't know the man I've become since you showed up. What if the judge believes them? Preston held the boy's hands. Then we fight harder and harder and harder until there's no one left to fight. The days that followed were an emotional roller coaster. Preston hired the best psychologists in New York to do the evaluation. He spent hours answering questions, reliving painful memories, exposing wounds he had hidden for a decade. Mr. Whitmore, the psychologist, a 60-year-old woman named Dr. Patricia Holloway, asked during their third session, "Why do you want to adopt this boy?" "Because he needs me. Many children need someone." "Why, Micah specifically?" Preston thought for a moment. "Because I need him to." "Need him how?" "I need a reason to wake up in the morning. I need someone to come home to. I need a reason to live, Dr. Holloway. For 10 years, I existed, but I wasn't living. Micah made me want to live again." The psychologist wrote something in her notebook. "And if custody isn't granted, what would you do?" "I don't know, but I know I won't give up. Never." While Preston faced the evaluations, Micah fought his own battles. Dorothy found him crying in his room on the night of December 30th. "My little angel, what's wrong?" Micah wiped his eyes quickly. "Nothing, Mrs. Dorothy. Micah, I raised 3 children. I know when a child is hurting." The boy was silent for a moment. "What if I ruined everything?" "Ruined it how? What if I do something wrong and the judge thinks Preston shouldn't keep me? What if I'm not good enough?" Dorothy sat on the bed and hugged the boy. "Listen to me, sweetheart. Mr. Whitmore isn't fighting for you because you're perfect. He's fighting because he loves you. And love doesn't demand perfection, but he barely knows me. How can he love me? Sometimes the heart recognizes what the mind doesn't understand yet. Mr. Whitmore recognized you, Micah, and you recognized him. That's rarer than gold." On New Year's Eve, Preston prepared a surprise. He took Micah to the penthouse terrace, where he had set up a small space with blankets, hot chocolate, and a perfect view of the fireworks. "This is for me?" Micah asked, amazed. "It's for both of us. My daughter Abigail loved watching the fireworks from up here. It was our tradition. And you want to share this with me?" "I do, Micah. I want to create new traditions." "Our traditions." They sat side by side, wrapped in blankets, waiting for midnight to arrive. "Preston?" "Yes." "If I could make a wish for the new year, do you know what I'd wish for?" "What?" "I'd wish to stay with you forever, to never have to leave again." Preston felt his heart tighten. "I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen, Micah. Do you promise?" "I promise." The fireworks began exploding in the Manhattan sky, vibrant colors lighting up the night, sounds echoing between the skyscrapers. "Happy New Year, Micah. Happy New Year, Preston." They embraced while the world celebrated around them. On January 1st, Preston's phone rang at 7 in the morning. It was Raymond, and his voice was tense. "Preston, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Diane Crawford found something. Something from your past." Preston's blood ran cold. "What?" The accident that killed your wife and daughter. She's claiming that you were responsible." "That's a lie. I wasn't driving. It was a truck that lost control." "I know, Preston. I know, but she found an alternative police report. A report that was never made public. And in that report, what does the report say, Raymond?" "It says you were behind the wheel, that you lost control of the car, that you caused the death of your own family." Preston felt the world spin. "That's impossible. It's a lie. I wasn't driving." "My wife was. Can you prove it?" I don't know. It was 10 years ago, Raymond." "Well, you'd better find a way to prove it. Because if Diane presents that reporter at the hearing, you won't just lose custody of Micah. You'll lose everything." Preston hung up the phone and looked down the hallway. Micah was standing at the door, his eyes wide with fear. "I heard everything, Preston." "Micah, did you kill your family?" "No, I swear I didn't." "This is a lie, Micah. A horrible lie." The boy took a step back. I need some time." And he ran to his room, slamming the door behind him. Preston stood frozen, feeling the world crumble around him once again. Preston stood frozen in the hallway for long minutes, unable to move. The closed door of Micah's room seemed like an impassable barrier. Dorothy appeared at his side. "Mr. Whitmore, what happened?" "They're accusing me of causing the accident that killed my family." Dorothy and Micah heard everything. The woman put her hand to her chest. "But that's a lie." "I remember, sir. I was working here when it happened." Mrs. Whitmore was driving. Preston looked at her urgently. "You remember that for certain?" "Absolutely certain, sir." Mrs. Whitmore had called, saying she was taking little Abigail to ballet class. "You were in a meeting at the office." "I answered the phone when the police called." "Dorothy, would you testify to that in court?" "I would testify 1,000 times, sir." Preston felt a spark of hope, but he still had something more urgent to resolve. "I need to talk to Micah." "Give him some time, sir. Children need to process." "I can't wait, Dorothy. He needs to know the truth." Preston walked to the bedroom door and knocked softly. "Micah, can I come in?" Silence. "Micah, please. Let me explain." The boy's voice came muffled, as if his face were buried in the pillow. "You said you would never abandon me. But everyone I love dies or leaves." "I'm not leaving. Micah, what if you go to prison?" What if they take you away because of the accident? They're not going to take me because I didn't do anything. It's a lie, Micah. A cruel lie to separate us. The door opened slowly. Micah's eyes were red, his face wet with tears. How do I know it's a lie? How do I know you're not lying to me too? Preston knelt in front of the boy. Do you remember Abigail's diary? The things she wrote about me? I remember. She wrote that I was the best dad in the world, that I read stories to her every night, that I sang made-up songs. Do you think a man capable of killing his own family would be described that way by his daughter? Micah was silent, thinking. And Dorothy was here that day. She knows I wasn't driving. My wife was taking Abigail to ballet class. I was at the office in Amichin. Then why are they saying it was you? Because they want to separate us, Micah. Because they're willing to lie, to destroy my life, just to take you away from me. Why? Why do they want to take me away from you so badly? Preston sighed. Because the system doesn't always work the right way. Because some people prefer following rules over doing what's right. And because I'm rich, Micah. And when rich people want to adopt poor children, a lot of people get suspicious. Micah wiped his eyes. My mom used to say, money doesn't define character. Your mom was right. She also said the truth always comes out in the end. And it will. Micah, I promise. The boy was silent for a moment, then threw himself into Preston's arms. I'm sorry. I doubted you. You don't need to apologize. You were scared. It's normal to be scared. I don't want to lose you, Preston. I don't want to lose anyone else. You're not going to lose me. We're going to fight together, and we're going to win. That same afternoon, Raymond arrived with news. I investigated that alternative report. It's a forgery, Preston. A crude one, at that. How did you find out? The case number is wrong. The detective's signature doesn't match, and the paper used didn't even exist in 2014. Someone fabricated this document in a hurry. Who? I don't know yet, but I have a suspicion. Who? Raymond Peter Hawkins. Diane Crawford's assistant. He has a history of document forgery. He was fired from a previous job for it, but managed to hide in the system. Preston felt the anger explode inside him. He forged a document accusing me of killing my family. Apparently so. And when I present this at the hearing, not only will we win custody of Micah, but will destroy their careers. Micah, who was listening from the doorway, approached. So the truth is going to come out. Raymond smiled at the boy. Yes, it will, Micah. And it's going to come out in a way that no one can ignore. Over the next 2 days, Preston and Raymond worked tirelessly. They gathered evidence, witnesses, documents. Dorothy agreed to testify. Preston's driver from that time, who was still alive, also confirmed that he was available that day because Preston hadn't left the office. On the night of January 2nd, the eve of the hearing, Micah couldn't sleep. Preston found him in the living room, looking out the window. Nervous. Very. Preston sat next to him. Me too? You? But you're Preston Whitmore. You're not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of a lot of things, Micah. I'm afraid of losing you. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of not being good enough. You are good enough, Preston. You're more than enough. How do you know? Micah looked at him with those deep green eyes. Because my mom chose you. And my mom was never wrong. Preston hugged the boy. Tomorrow is going to be the most important day of our lives, Micah. I know. Whatever happens, I want you to know something. What? Did I love you? That you're the son I thought I would never have again. That you saved me, Micah. You saved me from myself. Micah started to cry. I love you too, Preston. You're the dad I always dreamed of then. Tomorrow we're going to go there and show everyone that we belong to each other? Together? Together. Always together. They stayed embraced until sleep finally came. Father and son united by something stronger than blood, more powerful than the law, more eternal than time. Love. The Manhattan family court was packed on the morning of January 3rd. Preston walked in, holding hands with Micah, both wearing suits. Micah's had been bought especially for that day, and he kept adjusting his tie. It's tight, he whispered. I know. Mine is too. Are you nervous too? Terrified, Micah squeezed Preston's hand tighter. We're going to make it. We are. On the other side of the courtroom, Diane Crawford and Peter Hawkins were already seated with stacks of documents in front of them. Diane had a confident smile. Peter avoided looking at anyone. Judge Evelyn Porter entered the room, a 65-year-old woman with gray hair, piercing eyes that seemed to see right through people. Everyone be seated. Let's begin. Raymond stood up first. Your Honor, we are here to request permanent custody of the minor Micah James Sullivan by Preston William Whitmore. Diane stood up immediately. Your Honor, Child Protective Services strongly contests this petition. We have evidence that Mr. Whitmore is not fit to care for a child. What evidence? The judge asked. A police report indicating that Mr. Whitmore was responsible for the accident that killed his wife and daughter 10 years ago. A murmur ran through the room. Preston felt Micah squeeze his hand even tighter. Raymond stood up calmly. Your Honor, before the prosecution presents this alleged report, I would like to inform the court that it is a forgery. A forgery? The judge frowned. That is a serious accusation, Counselor, and I have proof to support it. Raymond walked to the front and handed a folder to the judge. This is the original accident report, obtained directly from the Connecticut Police Archives. As Your Honor can see, it clearly indicates that Mrs. Catherine Whitmore was behind the wheel. Mr. Preston Whitmore was not even in the vehicle. Diane turned pale. This must be a mistake. It's not a mistake, Mrs. Crawford. It's the truth. And the document you intended to present was forged. The case number is incorrect. The signature doesn't match. And the paper used is from a brand that only started being manufactured in 2018, 4 years after the accident. The judge looked at Diane sternly. Mrs. Crawford, do you have anything to say about this? Diane stammered. I received this document from a reliable source. I had no way of knowing it was fake. And who was that source? Diane's silence was deafening. Peter Hawkins began to sweat. Raymond continued, Your Honor, we have reason to believe that Mr. Peter Hawkins, Mrs. Crawford's assistant, was responsible for the forgery. He has a history of similar conduct in previous jobs. Peter jumped to his feet. That's a lie. I never, Mr. Hawkins. Sit down, the judge ordered. This is a matter that will be investigated separately for now. I am disregarding any documents presented by the prosecution related to the accident. Diane looked like she was about to faint. Your Honor, even disregarding that, we still have concerns about Mr. Whitmore's emotional capacity. Then present your concerns. Mr. Whitmore went through severe depression. He isolated himself from the world for a decade. He demonstrated an inability to form emotional bonds. Raymond smiled. Your Honor, I would like to call our first witness, Dr. Patricia Holloway, clinical psychologist. Doctor. Holloway approached the witness stand. Dr. Holloway, did you evaluate Mr. Whitmore in recent days? I did. And what is your conclusion? Mr. Whitmore went through prolonged grief, which is completely understandable given the devastating loss he suffered. However, in recent weeks, I have observed a remarkable transformation in him. What kind of transformation? He has recovered the ability to love, to connect, to feel hope. And this is due entirely to the bond he has formed with Micah. In your professional opinion, is Mr. Whitmore fit to be the minor's guardian? Not only fit, I would say he is the ideal person to care for Micah. Diane tried to counter. Dr. Holloway, isn't it true that bonds formed quickly tend to be unstable? That may be true in some cases, but what I observed between Preston and Micah is not an ordinary bond. It's something deeper, something that transcends time. Transcends time. That's not very scientific. Love is rarely scientific, Mrs. Crawford. But it's real, and the love between those two is the most real I have ever witnessed in 30 years of practice. Raymond called more witnesses. Dorothy spoke about how Micah had transformed the home. The former driver confirmed that Preston was not in the car on the day of the accident. Even Bernard, the doorman, testified about the change he had seen in Preston. Finally, Raymond made his request. Your Honor, I would like to present one last piece of evidence. The will of Suzanne Sullivan, Micah's biological mother. The judge read the document in silence. When she finished, her eyes were moist. This is extraordinary. Micah's mother knew Mr. Whitmore's daughter at the hospital, and before she died, she specifically chose Preston Whitmore to care for her son, not for money, not for convenience, but because she believed with all her heart that he was the right person. The judge looked at Preston and Micah sitting side by side, hands intertwined. Micah, would you please approach? The boy looked at Preston, frightened. You can go. It's okay. Micah walked slowly to the front of the courtroom. Micah, I need to ask you a question, and I need you to be completely honest. Do you want to live with Mr. Whitmore? I do, Your Honor. Why? Micah took a deep breath. Because he makes me feel safe. Because he listens to me. Because he cried with me when I talked about my mom. Because he's the first person who made me believe I can truly be loved. The judge discreetly wiped away a tear. Thank you, Micah. You may return to your seat. Micah ran back to Preston and hugged him. The judge stood up. After reviewing all the evidence, testimonies, and most importantly, the expressed wish of the biological mother, I grant permanent custody of Micah James Sullivan to Preston William Whitmore. The courtroom erupted in applause. Preston hugged Micah with all the strength he had. We did it, son. We did it. I love you, Dad. It was the first time Micah had called him Dad. Preston couldn't stop crying. There, in the middle of the courtroom, embracing the boy who had come into his life carrying an old box wrapped in newspaper, he finally understood what his daughter Abigail had done. She had asked God for an angel to take care of her father, and God had answered. Dad, Micah whispered again. Can I call you that forever now? You can, son. Forever. Dorothy rushed over to them, crying, Oh my God! Oh my God! I knew it! I knew it would work out! Raymond approached with a huge smile. Congratulations, Preston! You both deserved this. Thank you, Raymond, for everything. On the other side of the courtroom, Diane Crawford gathered her papers in silence, humiliated. Peter Hawkins had already been escorted out by 2 police officers. The investigation into the document forgery would result in his arrest weeks later. But none of that mattered now. What mattered was that Preston Whitmore had a son again, and Micah Sullivan had a father. They walked out of the courthouse hand in hand under a shower of applause from people who had followed the case. The story had leaked to the press, and reporters were crowded at the entrance. Mr. Whitmore, how do you feel? Micah! What do you want to say to children who are still in shelters? Preston stopped and looked at Micah. Do you want to answer? The boy nodded and turned to the cameras. I want to say, don't give up, that the right family exists for everyone. Sometimes it takes a while to arrive, but it arrives. My mom taught me to have faith, and faith brought me to my dad. The reporters fell silent, moved. Preston added, and I want to say that it's never too late to start over. I spent 10 years closed off from life. I thought I would never be able to love again. But this boy proved to me that the human heart is stronger than any pain. He saved me. 3 months later, the official adoption ceremony took place on a sunny April afternoon. The same courthouse, the same judge, but a completely different atmosphere. This time, there were flowers, smiles, and tears of joy. Preston William Whitmore, do you accept Micah James Sullivan as your son, promising to love him, protect him, and care for him for all the days of your life? I do. Micah James Sullivan, do you accept Preston William Whitmore as your father? Micah smiled, his green eyes shining. I do. I already accepted the day he let me into his home. The judge smiled. Then, by the power vested in me, I declare that from this moment forward, Micah shall be known as Micah James Whitmore, father and son, officially and forever. Preston lifted Micah into his arms and spun him around in the middle of the courtroom. You're my son, Micah, officially my son, and you're my dad, forever. Dorothy was crying so hard she could barely breathe. Raymond was discreetly blowing his nose. Even the judge was wiping her eyes. 1 year later, Preston's mansion on the Upper East Side had completely changed. The walls, once covered with expensive and impersonal paintings, now displayed Micah's drawings, photos of father and son on trips, moments captured from a new life. The guest room had been transformed into Micah's bedroom, decorated with space themes because the boy had developed a passion for astronomy, and in the corner of the living room, in a place of honor, sat the old box wrapped in newspaper. Preston had the original paper framed, along with Suzanne's letter and a photo of Abigail. Why did you keep the box, Dad? Micah asked one night. Because it's what brought you to me. It's the most valuable thing I own. More valuable than your cars. More valuable than everything I own. Micah smiled. My mom would be happy to know that. Your mom is happy. I'm sure of it. She and Abigail are up there, looking down at us, proud. Do you think they're friends? I'm sure they are. Probably planning more miracles together. 5 years later, Micah was 13 years old and standing on the stage of the school auditorium, about to give a speech. Preston was in the front row, his heart bursting with pride. Good afternoon, everyone, Micah began. The topic of my speech is what family means, and I'm going to tell you a story. He took a deep breath. When I was 8 years old, my mom died. I was alone in the world. No home, no food, no one. I spent weeks on the streets of New York, in the cold, hungry, but I had a mission: to deliver an old box to a man I had never seen. The audience was in absolute silence. That man could have ignored me. He could have laughed at me and walked away. And actually first, he did, but something happened. Something that changed our lives forever, Hilamin, into his home and into his heart. Micah looked at Preston. Family isn't just blood. Family is whoever chooses to stay when everyone else leaves. Family is whoever fights for you when the whole world is against you. Family is whoever loves you not despite your imperfections, but along with them. Tears streamed down Preston's face. My dad, Preston Whitmore, taught me that. He taught me that it's never too late to start over, that the hearts can heal, that true love has no expiration date. Micah smiled. So if you ask me what family means, I'll answer. Family is an old box wrapped in newspaper, delivered by a street kid, that changed a lonely millionaire's life forever. The audience erupted in applause. Preston ran to the stage and hugged his son. I love you, Micah. I love you too, Dad, forever. And there, under the applause of hundreds of people, father and son celebrated the miracle that had brought them together, a miracle called love, a miracle called family, a miracle that began with an old box and a promise kept. If this story touched your heart, leave that like that helps the channel grow so much. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and hit the bell so you don't miss any stories. Comment below what city or country you're watching from and which part moved you the most. And if you want to keep feeling the emotions, click on one of the videos over here to binge more incredible stories. Thank you for being here with us. Until next time,